What's going on, everyone? So, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Charlotte Hornets are expected to do a trial-like scenario, right? Where both sides are going to present their information and both sides are going to present kind of like what their arguments are, right? So, the NBA will kind of operate as like a court. Maybe they use a third party, arbitrator or whatever. And essentially, Charlotte is going to give their insight and their opinion based on why this trade should go through. Lakers are going to give their opinion and their base and show their evidence as to why this shouldn't go through. So both sides will be heard. Both sides are going to give their information to kind of, make their arguments. Now, I've seen a lot of talk about how this, because obviously this is unprecedented, right? We haven't had something like this happen, as far as I know, ever, right? And if it has, it usually just never gets to this point. Trades have been backed out. Teams have backed out of trades. Players have backed out of signings. Alex Lynn just did that, right? This happens all the time, but no team has ever pushed and petitioned the NBA to force the team to make the trade. I still hold true that the NBA is not going to do that. Unless the Lakers just really got cold feet and their evidence is not, because the Lakers are going to have the reports. Lakers are going to have the test results and all that stuff, and they're going to hand that over, right? And they're going to say this is our issue. This is our concern, right? The issues and concerns that they have are what Andrew Bynum is the greatest example, right? Andrew Bynum fell to Lakers, came to Lakers because people were worried about his long-term health. And what happened? He deteriorated, right? He was retired and out of the league at 28, something like that, right? So that's the same issues that the Lakers are looking at. Hornets are saying, hey, he's healthy right now. And the Lakers are saying, yes, right? His back issue, we're not concerned with. His foot issue, we're not concerned with. He hasn't had surgery, right? Because everyone's concerned is hey, the Lakers already knew about the health issues. Why are the Lakers backing out? They're not worried about the health issues right now. Their test results are saying long term, right? When the Lakers approached this trade, they believed or were under the assumption that Mark Williams was healthy, good, and could be your franchise center for the next 10 plus years. The Lakers wanted to give up Dalton Connect, a first-round pick, the pick swap, and Cam Reddish, so that way they could get their center for the next 10-plus years. So you have Mark Williams and Luka Doncic for the next 10-plus years, right? The Lakers are saying that the test results show he's not going to hold up 10 years. It's an Andrew Bynum situation, right? The Lakers are saying that he might last 3 years, 5 years, whatever. He may end up lasting the full 10 years. But our tests show that he's going to start to deteriorate. And he's not going to hold up. And here's the evidence. And they can even use Andrew Bynum as a form of evidence, right? The same concerns were with Andrew Bynum. Lakers are saying that they don't want to give up the assets that they were going to give up because he's not going to hold up the way that they thought he would. They wanted player A, young, athletic, could be your foundation for the next 10 plus years. What they're saying is that they are getting player B, young, athletic, could be a foundation piece, but for the next probably 3 to 5 years. So they don't want to give up Connect, Cam Reddish, and all these other things. So what ends up happening now is the NBA is either A, just going to throw it out, which I think is the most likely. I think the NBA is just going to, they have to hear it. They have to listen to it because, it's a complaint. So they got to at least do their part, do their due diligence. But I think ultimately what's going to happen is they're just going to say, hey, sorry, renegotiate in the offseason. Because if they force the Lakers to make this trade, it sends a terrible precedent for the rest of the league. And other teams are not going to be happy about this. Teams aren't really quick to run and defend the Lakers. Usually teams are complaining and crying about the Lakers. If this happens, teams will be in the Lakers' support because you're allowed your due diligence process for this very reason. This is why you do this. This is why you take these tests, right? It's just like when you buy a house, you want to do the inspection, right? You do the inspection and then you look at the inspection and you go, yeah, look, right now, great house. You could probably live in this house for, 10 years, 15 years, right? But it's not going to hold up 30 years. The foundation is not great, right? The foundation, it's got some cracks. You're going to have to do a lot of work, and it may just fall apart, right? So are you going to want to give up the money to go do? No, that's why you do your due diligence. That's essentially what the Lakers are saying, right? That, hey, this is a great house right now. Beautiful home, right? We could really use this home right now, but it's not going to hold up long term. The foundation is already showing signs of cracks, right? And so the Lakers, they are, I imagine, going to submit that reports, and the NBA is just going to say no, because the rest of the NBA is going to be like, hold on, time out. So you're telling me that our due diligence process, this entire thing, this is why we get this. You're setting a terrible precedent that if we find evidence and we come to the conclusion that we're not comfortable to do that, which is our right as an organization, and you're going to come in and force us to take that guy, even with the results, what's going to happen is the teams are not going to be thrilled about that. And that's going to be bad for the NBA. I don't see that happening. The other option could be what the MLB does. Because usually when stuff like this and it's kind of unprecedented, organizations look at how other organizations that have similar things kind of operate this. So it is very possible that it goes to like the MLB arbitration, which is essentially both sides will give their arguments. They have their essential package, right? Both sides are going to make their arguments for and against. The arbitrator is going to hear those sides, and they could, if they wanted to, allow those two teams to renegotiate. That, I think, is a very real option. Now, you might ask, well, wouldn't that set a terrible precedent as well? Because now teams could kind of loop around and do this cheat code, right? Couple things about that. One, what loophole could you use with that, right? Like, so you go and you agree to a trade and then you do your test and you can always find something, right? That's not the question. But it's like, then what? Then what? You're going to go and, force the team, because it's the team sending out the assets, right? So what? They're going to back out of the deal. Why would that other team make that attempt? And then even then, they still would have to agree, right? So the other team's like, no, I'm not, like, no, either take it or not, right? Like, then they're letting it go. And it's not something that happens regularly. And teams probably wouldn't want to do this because, again, it would not be good, right? Like, I just don't see that being a bad precedent. I think the NBA would just be like, okay, what would make you feel comfortable getting this trade done, Lakers? And I could see them being like, hey, we'll give them Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish. Like, we want to keep our first. We'll give you the pick swap. We'll even throw you another pick swap if you want it. But we want to keep our first, right? You can have Dalton Connect, which is the guy you really want, right? Cam Reddish, pick swap, and we'll even throw you another pick swap. I think the Hornets would do that because the Hornets aren't going to get anything close to that in the offseason. Hornets are doing this because, one, the Lakers tanked Mark Williams' trade value, and two, right, Mark Williams doesn't want to play for them anymore. He's not with the team. He's been sitting out. Like, he doesn't want to play for them anymore. He's furious, right? Which he should. You released this whole statement about how I'm your guy, I'm this, that, and the other, and now you're trying to force the NBA to, why would I want to play for you again? So they're going to have to trade him regardless in the offseason, right? They're not going to buy him out, right? I've seen a lot of talks, did a whole video about that. A lot of people are speculating that, hey, maybe they'll buy him out. Why? They would get at least a couple seconds for a 20, like Lakers would probably give them Dalton Connect straight up, right? So like they would get their guy, right? Like, so regardless, like they're not going to waive him because it doesn't make any sense. They'll get value for him. They'll get something for him, where if you just waive him, you get literally nothing for him, right? They're better off just letting him sit all season than be like, now do your test and see how he is, right? Now that he missed the full year. So this is something that could get touched on again in the offseason. I do think ultimately in the end, I do think that the NBA just says, like, sorry, tough luck. I wouldn't be shocked if the NBA does allow them to renegotiate. Because, again, you're treading on new territory. And both sides want to get it done. Lakers just don't want to have to pay what they had to pay because of what they found, right? So I think if all parties agree, the NBA could be like, okay, fine, let's just get this over with. Because it was a trade that was pending. It was a trade that was done before the trade deadline, right? Now things have just changed. They found the due diligence after, right? So you can make the argument that this still was a trade deadline trade. It's just, it got put on hold by the league, right? They could justify it and spin it. And either way, you're going to have sides that are going to complain. You're going to have people like, oh, of course, because it's the Lakers. They got what they wanted for cheaper and blah, blah. People are going to cry about it regardless. Even if this gets taken away, right? Like, Still going to get done. And it's not like the Lakers really lose. Like, they could use Mark Williams. Even in 5 years, they probably win a championship or two, and then it's worth it, right? Like, so either way, the Lakers, the only team that loses is the Hornets. This was a terrible idea for the Hornets because they're not going to get any compensation. They're not going to get anything. If anything, they're going to have to take less, even less, to trade him, or they're just going to look foolish. For the Lakers, it's a win-win either way. If the NBA forces their hand and makes them do it, then they clear a roster spot and they get their guy, even if it's for the next 3 to 5 years, and may even win a championship this year, and then you're still a contender for the next 3 to 5 years or however long, right? And then worst case scenario, they tell them no, and Lakers are good and they have all their assets, and now $40 million expiring, and they're going to be able to do a bunch of stuff in the offseason, right? So anyway, I just wanted to kind of break down and explain kind of the scenarios here because, I've gotten a lot of comments about like, hey, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Will they let them renegotiate, right? So wanted to kind of do my best. Obviously, again, we don't know exactly how this is going to play out, right? But I have heard that it very likely could go how the MLB arbitrates their issues. So I wanted to kind of, one, explain how the MLB's arbitration works, and two, kind of give you an idea for how this could play out. Again, we'll see, but just wanted to try to do my best to kind of give people an idea, right? And I've seen a lot of people just kind of like, so they're selling lemons, and neither side, like both sides are saying like, hey, look, we all understand what the deal is. Hornets are saying like, Lakers are saying that we don't like him long term anymore. Hornets are saying like, yeah, but he's still good now, so take him for now, right? Like, and everyone is upset. Dalton Connect's not happy. Mark Williams is not happy. Like, it's bad for both organizations. That's the argument. So I could see the NBA kind of trying to rectify it. So everybody, like Mark Williams gets to go to his place. Dalton Connect gets to go to his place. Both teams are happy. They're done. They find a middle ground. All is right. So don't be surprised if the NBA lets them renegotiate. Just something to keep in mind. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Would you like to see them renegotiate? Would you disagree? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.